Hi there, Mr. Biggers here, and today we're going to do Module 6, Lesson 6, Day 1, Solving Radical Equations. The standards we're looking for here are solve radical equations of one variable and identify any extraneous solutions. If something's extraneous, that means that it is a no solution or not possible. And we also want to solve radical equations by graphing systems of equations. We're not going to too much focus on that one. It's not even on your test, so you can cross that out. So a radical equation has a variable in a radicand, okay? When solving a radical equation, the result may end up being an extraneous solution because of the fact that the variable's inside your root, okay? So there are 3 steps here. Step 1 is going to be to isolate the radical on one side of the equation. So you're going to want to solve for whatever the radical is first. Then you're going to want to get rid of the radical. So if it's a square root, you're going to square both sides. If it's a cube root, you've got to cube both sides, and so on. And then you are going to, step 3, solve the remaining equation and check your answer, okay? So just to talk about opposites here, remember that the cube root of n is the same thing as n to the power of 1 over 3, okay? How would you get rid of the 1/3 power? You would then take this and raise it to the 3rd power, which would make it n to the power of 3 over 3, which makes it n to the power of 1, which gets rid of the root altogether. That is how getting rid of that works. We're going to have to, for each problem, check the result that satisfies the original equation, okay? So we're going to have to plug in our answers, make sure it works, all right? So this was how to get rid of radical. Radical. Okay. Let's go ahead and start with this first one. Step 1, you're going to want to solve for the radical symbol, okay? So if there's anything outside of the radical symbol, you need to move it to the other side. So right off the bat, I'm going to line up my equation, subtract 2 from both sides. Rewrite everything, you'll get the square root of 3x minus 5 is equal to 4. And then to get rid of a square root, you're going to square both sides. So square both sides. So it's 3x minus 5 equals 16. And then add 5 to both sides. 3x equals 21. And the answer is x equals 7. Okay. It may or may not be 7 though. So we need to check our answer by plugging it in, okay? So we're going to start with our original equation. And instead of x, you're going to substitute our answer, 7. Oh. And we need to make sure, does it equal 6? This part here, you can literally type in any online calculator or your own calculator that you have. Okay, so really quick, you can pause the video, or if you're in the room, you can type that in your calculator. Just make sure that that equals 6. I'm going to go ahead and work it out by hand real quick. 3 times 7 is 21. 21 minus 5 is 16. So I got the square root of 16 plus 2, which is really 4 plus 2, which is equal to 6. So your answer works. It's not extraneous. Some of them will be, which means you could do this work and then have an extraneous answer and it's not really a solution. So you need to real quick just type it in your calculator, make sure it works. All right. So that is the first one. We're going to go ahead and hop down here, do this Alex example. If you're watching the video, I want you to pause it at this time and work it out. Spoiler alert, here's the answer. Okay. Oh.
JK.
There goes the video.
Just kidding.
All right, so we are going to work this out now. Add 3 to both sides. You get the square root of v minus 8 is equal to 10. And remember, to get rid of a square root, you're going to square both sides. 10 squared is 100. And then you have v minus 8 equals 100. Because it got rid of the squares, or square root. Plus 8 to both sides, and your answer is v equals 108. Do you plug it in again? Yes, you're going to plug it in. And it's really easy. Once you plug it in, you'll get the square root of 100 minus 3.
Our work that we're plugging it in, or can we just like type it in the calculator?
So question, do you have to show your work when you're plugging in? No, you just have to make sure that your answer works. Because in the event it's a non-solution or an extraneous solution, you still need to show that it's not a real solution, okay? But it takes 2 seconds to plug it back in to check.
Wait.
All right, moving on to the next side.
Wait, is it not 108? You just write it wrong.
No, v is 108 minus 8 in the square root, which is how I got square root 100. Yeah. So I did that step in my head. I did 108 minus 8. Yeah, that's how I got square root 100. I plugged in for v, what we found with v. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and hop over here to solve a cube root equation. Remember, 1/3 power is the same thing as a cube root. Okay. So to remove the 1/3 power or cube root, you must first isolate it, then raise each side to the power of 3. So I'm going to get rid of everything else on that left side of the equation. So first things first, copy this down. Then you're going to start picking away and solving as if this was your variable. Okay? So to do that, I first need to get rid of the 9. It's like the opposite of order of operations. 3 plus 9 is 12. And then you get the rest of the stuff. And before I can touch that 1/3 power, once again, I'm still solving for this. I have to divide by 4. And 12 divided by 4 gets you 3. Then that's when you do to the power of 3 on both sides. And 3 to the power of 3 is going to be 27. So then you can solve it for x. And you should get x equals 10.5. And all you got to do to test this out is once again substitute it back in. So we're going to try to plug in the 10.5. If it works, then you'll see. Once you plug it in, you'll find out it does work. Any questions in the room over this?
How do you do a fraction, like exponent, in your calculator?
A fractional exponent, if you have a school calculator, you're going to hit the exponent button, then start your fraction. Okay, that's how you type in a fraction on your school calculator. All right,
It works.
moving on. Backside here. First things first, you want to isolate the radicals here, but we have radicals on both sides. So that's fun.
Do I skip it?
Yeah, skip it. I didn't put any like that on your test, so you don't need to know how to do it.
What about the
Skip that one. Huh?
How do we do that?
Yeah, how do we do that? Alex examples.
Oh, we forgot.
Sorry about that on the video, guys. So to get rid of a square root, you're going to square root it or square it. And once you do that, it gets rid of it on both sides.
Do we just solve it then?
So then it's just Yeah, an equation that you solve. That's it. So oh, I forgot the plus 5.
It's negative 1.
So solve that real quick. And what's that answer going to be?
Negative 1.
-1. You can plug it in to make sure it works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick on my calculator here. Just going to plug it into both and make sure that it works. And it does. I got 1 = 1. So that means it works. All right, we're going to hop over here and do this one. 1/6 power. It's the same concept, okay? First things first, you've got to isolate your radical, okay? So -8 to both sides. 10 minus 8 is going to give you a 2. And then you got 2/3 times this shiitake mushroom mess right here. And then to get rid of the 2/3, remember, to get rid of an ugly fraction, I always say you multiply by the reciprocal, okay? 3/2. Those are going to cancel out really nicely for us. And then we have 11x plus 14 to the 1/6 power is equal to whatever that is. 3. Next step, people in the room, what do we do?
You use 6 to root it.
Well, it's 1/6 now, so how do you get rid of 1/6? How would you make this a power of 1?
You multiply by 6.
Correct. Not multiply. You raise it to the power of 6, okay? 3 to the power of 6 is going to be, what is that? $729. And then finish solving that out. X is going to be equal to 65 for us. And you can plug it in to check. I'm going to tell you it works, just to save you time. The other two here, I'm just going to start them online. They'll be completed for you to see. This one, you just have to do 4th power each side, and then you solve it from there, okay? And then this one, to get rid of a cube root, you're going to raise it to what power? On each side.
3.
Power of 3 to get rid of a cube root, okay? So that's how you're going to do your assignment. There are 10 questions. Get those done and submit it when you're done. Tomorrow, we're going to have some board work in the classroom.